It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the ICME Mathematics Education Reform Post-2020 Conversations Towards Building Back Better panel discussion. Our panelists are myself, Mellony Graven, Marcelo Borba, Eva Jablonka, Danny Martin, and Kay Subramaniam. And our respondents are Renuka Vittel and Yoshinori Shimizu. I will introduce them shortly. So in our panel, we are going to provoke conversation about directions for mathematics education reform post-2020 with a view towards building back towards better quality and equitable mathematics teaching and learning. This connects well to this year's International Maths Day theme, which was Mathematics for a Better World. We look forward as we begin to emerge from the crippling challenges of the pandemic. We've been asked to look at two interrelated aspects for building back better. The first relates to transitions towards remote and online teaching and learning in maths education, while the second relates to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals established in 2015 with the aim to build a better future by 2030. It is interesting to note that the phrase build back better initially emerged from the United Nations Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction in 2015. Online learning transitions have rapidly sped up due to the massive COVID-linked closure of and disruption to schools across the globe. Online learning, of course, brings opportunities for increased access to quality maths education resources, but it also brings danger in the enormous unevenness in the systemic and individual preparedness of those to optimize online opportunities. This unevenness then plays out both across and within countries. And so as panelists, we ask, will the digital divide exacerbate inequities across gender, social class, race? What mathematics education reform is needed to meet digital needs and growing risks created by widespread access to fake news and social media? How can mathematics education reform support the reduction of rather than the exacerbation of social, economic, and educational inequalities? There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals for building a better future, and they are pretty broad, the fourth of which is quality education. And many of them focus on the reduction of inequalities. Now, most countries across the globe are signatories on the SDGs. However, 5 years on, we're far behind meeting the goal targets. The impact of COVID has seemingly exacerbated the challenges. The digital era and its increasing visibility to racial, environmental, and other crises brings increased awareness towards the need for change. For example, increasing exposure of extreme systemic racial inequality gave rise to the Black Lives Matter movement. And while this movement began in the United States of America, it gained momentum across the globe. And so these crises come with opportunities, as is reflected in the characters making up the Chinese word for crisis. From my understanding, the first represents danger, while the second represents a pivot or a crucial point of change. And we have the opportunity to look at this current moment in time as a pivot and a crucial point of change for us in mathematics education. But what might that mean if we want that change to be for building back better? And so we ask, how might our common and diverse experiences of 2020, including but not limited to the pandemic, provide opportunities for building back better and meeting the Sustainable Development Goals? How does mathematics education support building back better for a better world? And so I'll now begin to introduce my panelists. Marcelo Borba is a professor of the graduate program in mathematics education and of the mathematics department of Sao Paulo State University, UNESP, at Rio Claro, Brazil. He researches the use of digital technology in mathematics education, online distance education, modeling, and critical mathematics education. He's an associate editor of ZDM the International Journal of Mathematics Education, and is editor of a collection of 32 books in Brazil. Eva Jablonka is a professor of mathematics education at Freie Universität Berlin, Department of Education and Psychology. She has held positions at King's College London, Luleå University of Technology, Sweden, and the International Centre for Classroom Research at Melbourne University. Her research looks at the goals of mathematics and mathematics literacy education, mathematics classrooms in different educational systems, and she has contributed significantly to sociocultural theories in mathematics education. Danny Martin is a professor of education and mathematics at the University of Illinois at Chicago. He teaches in the undergraduate elementary education program, as well as courses in the doctoral programs in mathematics and science education and curriculum studies. His research focuses primarily on understanding the salience of race and identity in Black learners' mathematical experiences. K. Subramaniam, fondly known as Ravi. Ravi is a professor at the Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in Mumbai, India. He researches the design and organization of core areas of middle grade mathematics curriculum and integration of out-of-school knowledge and the specialized knowledge teachers need to teach effectively. He has contributed extensively to the work of curriculum and textbook committees and to in-service teacher professional development across India. Our two respondents are Professor Yoshinori Shimizu and Professor Renuka Vittal. Yoshi is from the University of Tsukuba in Japan, and Renuka is from the University of Fort Hare, South Africa. So they've been invited as the co-chairs of the ICME study, School Mathematics Curriculum Reform, Challenges, Changes, and Opportunities. Their study topic, as we see, coheres well with the topic of our panel and our grapplings. Their work is captured in the ICME study volume, which will also be presented here at ICME14. And so we are here to provoke conversation. Our panelists and respondents share insights and questions related to these two connected aspects. They're going to contribute voices and perspectives from diverse geographical backgrounds and research interests and expertise. And our plan is to stimulate discussion and begin conversations that we will continue to grapple with post ICME14. Before commencing, and in the interest of time, the panelists and I say a collective thank you to the ICME, IPC, and the LOC for this invitation. And we thank our respondents for their contributions. So we say a collective thank you, Shishi. Over to you, Marcelo.